7. Barrett outside, the switch. Doncic goes, oh, what a great step! And then he hammers it home! Broke his ankles!
Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. I hope you guys are doing well, and I got so many suggestions for this video. Like, if it was me posting on my community tab, which prospect should I do next, my latest videos, like, you have to do a video on this guy. Kai Sotto, he's the next unicorn, he's the next Porzingis, he's hyped up like Bol was, or I'm high on him like Bol was coming out. Like, people think he has the highest ceiling in the world, but I'm going to be completely real with you guys. If we take Kai Sotto, it's a huge if, because we know Tom Thibodeau has a lot of say when it comes to the draft. This year, he shouldn't have that much say because you could say he's kind of on the hot seat. Well, there's some reports that he has another 1 to 2 more years, and then there's some reports that he may be gone after this year if we get off to a shaky start and we just absolutely suck. You know, he's not the coach longevity-wise to really put us in the position to win the big thing. But Leon Rose needs to put a foot down in this draft. But at the end of the day, you need Tom Thibodeau and Leon Rose to be on the same page. But when you take a look at Kai Sotto, he does bring some defense, but he's raw. He needs to get stronger. He can get knocked off his spot when it comes to positioning on rebounds. But having a 7'5" wingspan, being a center that is 7'3", 233, there's some websites out there that have him at 230, some websites that have him at 225, but the closest I can find is the 230 to 233 range, so he definitely has a great physical profile. But if the Knicks go on to draft this dude, he's projected second round. Some teams are really high on him, like maybe he can go at the tail end of the first round, mid first round. I look at him as early second round, tail end of the first round. He's starting to move up like boards lately as we hold the 42nd pick in the second round. If the New York Knicks are really in love with him, we'll have to move up towards the tail end of the first round, in my opinion, because there's the potential there, and because there's not that many stretch bigs. There's not that many in this draft, so a lot of teams are going to be intrigued by that. But yeah, a lot of teams are all over the place when it comes to Kai Sotto, but the New York Knicks, or teams, cannot make this mistake. Some teams just look at the skill set, like what his skill set could potentially be, but yet you can't just fall in love with the skill set. Like, you're going to have to fall in love with this kid as well, because you're investing time, you're investing money into this kid, and he's going to take some time. So you're definitely going to have to make sure that you're drafting the right human being, which I think they are. He has a great work ethic. This dude grew up watching Hakeem Olajuwon. He's continued to get better when it came to NBL. But when it comes to these projects, you have to make sure they have the right mentality. You have to make sure they really want it. They're hungry on the court. They have this great work ethic. They're always taking advantage of an opportunity when they're out there on the floor. And if they're not ready right away, you have to put them in the G League, get used to the physicality of the NBA. But he actually did play for G League Ignite after being very dominant in high school. He didn't play, like, he played in practices. He played up against G League players, so he did go up against professionals. He had Amir Johnson on his team. He had Jalen Green on his team at the time, Jonathan Kuminga, Deshaun Knicks. Like, those guys obviously ended up going to the NBA. And despite not playing a game, I don't know the true reason why he didn't play an official game for G League Ignite, even though he participated in scrimmages. He still got mentorship, or he still learned a lot, I bet, from Amir Johnson, which is huge, because Amir Johnson played in the league for a good amount of time. Well, he's still technically in the league, playing for G League Ignite, playing for the Raptors. He played for the Celtics as well, so that's always great to have a mentor there, in my opinion. But Kai Sotto ended up going to the NBL, which is actually pretty stacked with talent. You have Dudley over there, obviously played for the Cleveland Cavaliers. You have Xavier Wraithen-Mays, who played plenty of G League games and played a lot of Summer League games for the New York Knicks. You have Ryan Broekhoff, played for the Dallas Mavericks. Ian Clark played for the Golden State Warriors. Jarrell Martin played for the Memphis Grizzlies. Chasen Randall was a New York Knick. Zochi, I believe I pronounced the name right, he played for the Rockets. He had a lot of hype at one point. A lot of people were high on him. So he was playing up against grown men, which definitely prepared him for the NBA. So he didn't play for G League Ignite, but he got mentorship by Amir Johnson, played up against professionals still when it came to scrimmages. They had scrimmages for him playing up against grown men, and now he's in a grown men league, or he was in a grown men league of the NBL, which Josh Giddey played in that league, and LaMelo Ball did as well, some recent prospects. So there's a lot of hype about him stretching the floor. But obviously, if the New York Knicks go on to draft him or we trade up for him, he won't play right away because we have Nerlens Noel on this roster. But there is a concern. Can Nerlens Noel stay healthy? But Jericho Sims he played valuable minutes towards the tail end of the season, where at one point he started playing valuable minutes. He sets hard screens, he's physical, he rolls strong to the basket, he's a solid rim protector, he started to get more disciplined towards the tail end of the season. And if we bring back Mitch, I really don't know what will happen when it comes to the center room, but I know some people are counting Noel as the odd man out because we know he can't stay healthy. Obviously, I'm not wishing injuries upon anyone, but that's kind of been the theme with Nerlens Noel throughout his career. I'm not expecting him to start or play right away off the bench, and the G League could be a real possibility, and we'll definitely need some real patience with him. But when you go on to watch Kai Sotto, I think it's very important to have a stretch big on this team, because RJ Barrett's someone that likes to work downhill. Depending on the future of Reddish is athletic. He likes to work downhill. He has pretty solid athleticism, cutting back doors, slashing to the basket. And if you have a stretch big, it opens up the interior. That the paint isn't as clogged there, which is huge for a guy like RJ Barrett. And maybe his finishing gets better, but there's certain things he has to get better with, his shot selection, and other guys on this team as well. And I'm not saying he will take Mitch's spot right away. I'm not saying that at all. He may not even take Jericho Sims' spot right away. But the key question the Knicks need to ask themselves if they draft this guy, because they cannot be selfish, because they're investing a lot of time in him. But Kai Sotto is also investing a lot of time with the Knicks. Like, oh, they believe in me. They think I could be something for them one day. But the Knicks can't do this kid dirty. Like, play him when he deserves to be played. After playing the G League, maybe the season's a little lost, and it's like, let's see what this kid got. You got to put him in the position to be successful. You do. If it's the right weight program, defining his skills, because he's pretty skilled for his size. But this is the problem. He's projected as a stretch 5, but he did not really play as a stretch 5 when it came to the NBL. He only attempted 0.7 threes per game, 0.8 threes per game. And I don't know if that was the coaching staff. Like, we don't know. Like, at the end of the day, we weren't on that team. So maybe they kind of restricted him in a box. Maybe they're like, your shot isn't as refined. This is the big leagues. We're trying to win games. We don't care about you getting your stock up by pulling up a certain amount of threes or putting up a certain amount of threes. He did shoot like 38%, but it's hard to tell. It's like 0.7 on 0.7 attempts. So maybe they kind of restricted him in a box, but he didn't shoot that many threes, and he was kind of reluctant to shoot them. But we don't know if that's Kai Sotto saying, oh, I think I could dominate more in the paint right now, so I don't really have to shoot that many threes. But when it comes to the next level, when the physicality goes up, he's going to have to start shooting more shots from the outside, in my opinion. He won't dominate the interior right away or anything like that when he does have an opportunity in the NBA. We don't know when his first opportunity will come. But when you watched him in the NBL, like, you could just flat out just see that he's done plenty of footwork drills, plenty of post move drills. Like, you could definitely see that, or you could tell he's grown up watching Hakeem Olajuwon, because there was this one move, no travel, he sticks his pivot foot in the ground, 2 spin moves, very effective, baby hook. He has such great touch around the rim. He has solid post moves. I'm not going to say they're really refined like a Joel Embiid yet, because when I watch Joel Embiid's footwork, it's literally like I'm watching a reincarnation of Hakeem Olajuwon in the post. I know Hakeem Olajuwon perfected it and started it, but Joel Embiid's one of the closest players like I've seen to Hakeem Olajuwon when it comes to footwork. I'm not saying he is Hakeem Olajuwon, but when you watch Kai Sotto play, he has very solid footwork, and I think it's only going to get better with repetition and his insane work ethic. So everyone's wondering, like, how does he move? Is he smooth? So I would say he's mobile. He moves pretty well. He's kind of fluid. I wouldn't say... I actually thought Porzingis was more fluid coming out. I thought Mobley was more fluid coming out. And I even thought Bol was more fluid coming out. He moves well, but I don't think it's at a special level. When you watch him play, he actually has very soft touch around the rim. So that does indicate that he could be a solid shooter from the outside. He didn't shoot that well from the free throw line, but he also didn't get there a lot of times. Like, he only played 17 minutes of action, because you have to remember, these professional teams don't care about how you're trying to make it to the NBA. Like, John Calipari, he tries to put his guys in the position to make it to the NBA. They're all about winning. They're like, you're young, you're kind of unexperienced, these guys have been here longer, this is more of a team brand of basketball, we don't really care about the NBA for you, I'm sorry, we're trying to win games. but he's a solid athlete. And just being solid for 7'3", I think is fine. In my opinion, he's a good roller to the basket. I really like the way he rolls to the basket. But the number one thing I love about him is that he has a competitive edge. He's not soft. He's not some big, kind of lanky guy that's soft out there on the floor. You've seen him scream, see him just stare down people after dunks. Obviously, having a 7'5", 7'5" wingspan, insane. Like, for lobs around the rim, like, you could kind of put it anywhere you want for him. And he's proven to be a solid rim protector due to his wingspan, due to, like, when he plays straight hands of fundamental defense and he's disciplined. He was one of the best shot blockers in the NBL. But he really struggled with the very physical guys that kind of put him out of position on defense, and then it looked kind of awkward because they're so much stronger than him, because they're much more experienced. So he wasn't able to guard certain moves. But at times he's really gotten into foul trouble because, like I said, he's great when he's playing straight hands up fundamental defense, but sometimes he always went for the huge play. He always went for the huge block, which resulted in fouls, of course, because when, like, these older players can notice when they're going for the huge block. They're ready to wind up. They may use a pump fake, get them up in the air, and draw contact. In my opinion, sometimes it can be overzealous, but that's a maturity thing. I think he can definitely improve at that. At the end of the day, he is a project. He's going to need some time. He's not refined. No one's expecting him to dominate right away. But when you have shooting potential, or when you have a pretty smooth stroke from the outside, when you have solid footwork, the rebounding, he only averaged like 4 rebounds. But again, it's in 17 minutes. And he was pretty active. He definitely did try. He knew how to utilize his wingspan. He knew how to utilize his body, but he can get knocked off of spots when it came to rebounding the basketball. But he played tough. Like, he played the toughest he could with his frame, which I really do respect. He wasn't just like, oh, I'm smaller than these guys, so I'm not going to try. He is a gamer. But I think maybe a good situation would be like the Toronto Raptors. They're in need of a starting 5 or a center down the road, and they're good at developing talent. But let me know down below your thoughts on Kai Sotto, and peace out, y'all.